I was born in 2006, so this meant I grew up on things like SpongeBob, Thomas the Tank Engine, Sunday, Marvel movies, Disney Infinity. Not so much because of the characters, but because of explosions and neuron activation. What can I say? And Pixar was just kind of another random thing that I kind of had in my life. It wasn't something that I actually cared about. I loved The Incredibles because, well, it was explosions. Can't go wrong with that. And also, I wanted to be fast, like Dash. I'm still working on it. I mean, heck, I even had a Lightning McQueen bike. That's how you know it's official. But all of these things give me one emotion: nostalgia. As of making this, we are still so close to 1 subscriber. We're almost there, guys. One more. One. Please. Cars came out in 2006, as well as I. I came out in 2000. Wait. So because it released in 2006, it gave Cars time to mature with its audience, as well as the release of Cars 2, which again activated the neurons of every single child in a 50-mile, 1,000,000,000,000,000,000 radius. There is a fly in my face. So what this meant is that this was the movie that my generation grew up with. I grew up with Cars, not specifically me, but the people around me. Not too long ago, I did a poll around my school asking everyone to rate Pixar movies. So I'd just say, all right, this movie, Toy Story, 1 through 10. And I mean, the results were kind of skewed because some people said, oh, I hadn't watched the movie, so I gave it a 5 because I haven't seen it. Maybe if you read the instructions, Sebastian. The instructions said don't check anything if you haven't seen it. Sebastian. But this poll revealed to me that Cars is the #1 Pixar movie, according to my school. And that seems really unusual, having Cars above these other amazing masterpieces. And it wasn't even close. It was like a rating of 8.8 to like 7.8. It was crazy. It was a huge difference. And then I started asking people, why did they say Cars? It's like, it's not a 10. It's a good movie. It's not a 10, though. I kind of got reactions like, I don't know, I think it's pretty good. I grew up on it, you know? It's just my childhood. And then finally the one that just straight up said, oh, it's nostalgia. I only got those reasons. I asked around for people who put 10, 8, 9, and 10. I asked them. People who put like 6, I'm sure they just like thought it was an okay movie. But by asking these people this, it revealed something to me. I'm only asking people my age. So that made me think, all right, is Cars 2 like by older people? No offense, but you're old. I gave the poll to maybe 5 teachers or so. Of course, that's a small sample size, so it's not the best accuracy. The favorite movies were Toy Story 1 and Finding Nemo. But the weird thing about that, the one thing almost everybody can agree upon, is that Toy Story 2 and 3 are better than 1. So that brings up the question, why did the older age group / the teachers think that Toy Story 1 was the best Pixar movie? Well, again, nostalgia. If you ask a younger age group, like from 2010 and beyond, you'll probably get something like Monsters University, Inside Out, Coco. You'll get something like that, although Coco is just a popular one among everyone, so there's that to consider. I mean, let's compare this to something. Have you ever seen those videos where it's like, do you prefer a warm Christmas or a cold Christmas? And it'll like give you nostalgia for those old times when Christmas was cozy, like there were cookies everywhere. It just felt different because it was so stress-free. Well, in a way, it's the same thing because when you like something that you liked before, it's trying to grab onto something by the balls. No, I can't say that. People like warm Christmases because they got to experience that at some point in their life. And they're trying so hard to reach back for it, but they can't. So they end up trying to go for it more and it becomes an obsession. With Cars, it's this thing that everybody grew up on. And the next thing you know, it's just, they can't get it back, but they like to think, hey, this is still my favorite. And it's kind of out of tribute. If you're not super into movies and you can't explain why you like a movie, what makes a scene good, then it really comes down to nostalgia on why you like a movie. It comes down to, is it exciting? Is it fun? And I mean, shockingly in this school poll, Cars 2 did really well because of how exciting it is. Not because it's a good movie, but because it's exciting. Cars did well because it's nostalgia-based. So because of this, Pixar is affected in 2 ways. Firstly, it makes the old movies look good. Now, first of all, they are good. You can't look at WALL-E and be like, okay, that's pretty solid. You look at that movie and you're like, wow, I want to go to space. That being said, movies that are kind of just okay are enhanced greatly because of how they're viewed when you're children. When you're a child, the world is simpler. And I know I'm only 16, but I know what it was like to be 8 years old. I'd look at a wall and be like, ha, it's beige. No child has ever done that. I mean, why do you think CoComelon's popular? It's not good writing. It's just another thing to make children entertained. For Pixar, when children grow up, they look back and they're like, wow, I enjoyed that a lot. Why can't I enjoy it now? It's because you grew up, you dingus, you dingbat. Although Pixar movies tend to hold up a bit more when you get older. That's another thing that appeals about them. Because of this exchange with nostalgia for enjoyment, it makes old Pixar movies look really good to the point where it makes current Pixar look terrible. As of recent, you've got Inside Out, you've got Coco, you've got Cars 3, Toy Story 4, Soul, Luca. You got all of these movies that just came out, or recently came. I mean, Inside Out was like, what, 9 years? 8 years? Oh, goodness. The reality is that these movies were so good that it makes current Pixar look bad. And it's not that these new movies are bad. It's just, they're new. They don't have nostalgia to build off of. They're just there. We're adults now. We're 16-year-olds in front of water talking and stuff, and now it's not children. What am I saying? As a result of the enjoyment of Cars, Pixar's dying. That's a really gruesome way to put it, because the reality is Pixar's here to stay for at least a little bit, until we get at least 8 more sequels. And it's not to say that these movies are going to negatively affect things, it's just making it harder. You still had Coco after this phase, which was shockingly good. You still had Luca and Soul after this phase, which were amazing. But it's hard to fight against something that has a personal connection. If Cars 2 is the last movie I watched with my grandfather before he died, then it'd be a little bit better, because it's something that reminds me of something that I love. It's not just Mater doing Mater things, like blowing up England. I mean, think about it. If all of these new Pixar movies came out during that era consecutively, and they just skipped over the sequel phase, and they just kept on making these originals like Inside Out, Luca, Soul, all that crap, they made that in the same line as these originals, it would be crazy, because it'd still fall into that category. But there's a gap there that got rid of the nostalgia, and it ruined them. And that's where the audience lies right now, from what I can tell. To most people, Pixar will never be the same. Cars is loved for its nostalgia. And yes, it is a good movie, so there's that too. It seems as though you've made it through What? It seems as though you've made it through yet another video. And you are still not subscribed, because did you know 100% of my viewers are not subscribed? I am incredibly sad.